This is a certified hood classic.
All right, now, so you know that we started a lot of the King of the Hill over on the channel, and I ain't gonna lie to you, my boys, I've been loving it, man. I'm glad that y'all been loving it too, man. So I was thinking, somebody has said, and I really wish that I remember who said that, man. Somebody said that they're actually doing a reboot. I think a lot of y'all said that they're doing a reboot of King of the Hill, my boys. So I thought, man, let's take a look at it, man. I didn't believe it at first. I took a look, I'm like, see, that's why I never doubt you. ODG for life.
King of the Hill continuation / revival has finally been announced.
I want to see the updated characters, boy.
Being picked up for at least one additional season on Hulu, King of the Hill is finally returning. And considering our historical love for the King of the Hill series, we just have to talk about it.
That is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen.
Looking at
very little to no information on the series at the moment, the internet is full of theories. So today we're going to dissect those theories, I tell you what. I'm Kyle with
I tell you what,
Wicked Binge, and these are King of the Hill reboot theories we love and hate.
Okay. All right, Wiki Bins, man. I love Wiki Bins, man. They be on it, bro.
Without further ado, let's jump into our first theory on the list. A straight-up remake in modern times. Now, it's unlikely, but possible that the creators just restart the entirety of the story, character development, and time frame of the show, dropping the Hills into 2023 as if for the first time. Specifically, this theory isn't just that it's set in modern times, but reimagines the original story as opposed to builds off and continues it. One could
Well, that wouldn't be bad, though. That might not be bad. I know that would be a big change. But just to do a reboot and seeing how Hank would feel in modern times or even early 2000s, like coming from the 90s, early 2000s, that would be dope, early 2000s. And then they could, because if they, I'm thinking for their future, if they restarted doing it from the early 2000s where Bobby's a child, you know, everything is a little bit more modern. And then if they ran for like 5 or 6 seasons and then they did a time jump after that where it was like present time, then Bobby wouldn't be that old and they could still get some of the new episodes or references, kind of like South Park be doing. But I don't know,
argue
man.
that this could work to bring in non-fans, but the likelihood of this happening is slim to none. Firstly, the show has been routinely referred to as a continuation or revival, which implies we'll be picking up sometime after we left the Hills 13 years ago in 2010. Secondly, based on Mike Judge's other recent major revival, Beavis and Butthead, this doesn't seem to be the way that Judge likes to do things.
You're not gonna believe what my reflection looks like.
Regardless, when it comes to the idea of disregarding the original series and remaking it from scratch, we would absolutely hate it if this happened. In fact, that might be the worst idea.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it, but it's just about how you would do it, though. Like, I wouldn't hate it because I would like to see this. I mean, it's not the best idea. It's not the best idea, but I wouldn't hate it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, hate is a strong word. Like, oh, no, I really don't fuck with. No, I would still watch it. It's just like they have to do it right. The writing has to be on point. The character development has to be on point. Everything would have to be done flawlessly, bro. And I think that they want a little margin for error. So I'm gonna let's hear the rest
of all time. The original series was so great, and the opportunity to take those original characters, specifically Hank, and drop them into modern times gives a perfect opportunity for them to grow and evolve from one era to another. In a similar vein, but not exactly the same, our next theory is it's just modern day. This was a theory that many have brought up and is often labeled as the safest option for a revival to the series. The idea goes
just to
follows.
keep going.
They take the Hill family from the nebulous year they were originally in, which we theorize the finale took place in about 2007 in our complete King of the Hill timeline video, and they essentially drop them in 2023 with no major changes. This idea would allow them to continue their themes and ideas from the original series while still continuing business as usual.
South Park does it, so maybe, yeah. South Park definitely does it, so yeah, fuck it, why not?
With how averse to change a lot of executives are nowadays, this is likely the option we will see. Though there are some pretty big things about this that make it hard to think this will be the actual option. During a Reddit AMA, one of the producers on the original King of the Hill and a constant collaborator of Mike Judge said that the revival would
Phil Collins
feature a time skip. However, due to most of this information coming out long before the revival was ordered, nothing is certain. That said, we have many mixed feelings about this. We don't dislike the idea, but it would be interesting to see the characters age a good bit.
This is America, dang it. We know what we're doing.
That said, when you think about it, lots of cartoons, including the original King of the Hill, which ran for 10 years, kept the characters the same age over the course of its entire run. So keeping everyone the same age in the reboot, despite being over a decade in the future, does work. We just think that a time skip as far as the characters' ages goes has a lot of potential.
Yeah, like maybe not too big of a time skip, but just age them up a little bit, and that way it kind of be fresh. Maybe Bobby's a teenager, and so that would lead. So he's not like an adolescent young boy. You know, he kind of knows what's going on. He's still kind of dumb, irresponsible, but maybe he has a car. Maybe Luann has a man. You know what I'm saying? And well, she was old enough then, but you know. Just a little bit stuff like that, just age them up. You might be able to get more stories out of that too.
So for our next theory, let's talk about the ever-mentioned time skip. Since talk of this reboot started, there's been reference to jumping forward in the timeline of King of the Hill. According to the aforementioned Reddit AMA, the time skip would be the main story of the revival, as it would jump forward 15 years into modern day with all the characters aged up accordingly. In fact, co-creator of King of the Hill, Greg Daniels, confirmed just last year that this was still the plan. However, as we mentioned prior, having taken so long to be picked up, this plan may very much have changed. There's also the note that Bobby's voice actress was not recast, which might mean they needed a more adult male voice. However, as mentioned by Johnny 2 Kellos in his video on this topic, it is hard to have Bobby without Pamela Adlon. This idea is also echoed in Judge's other work, as during his Beavis and Butthead revival, he did a multitude of episodes with aged up versions of the characters. Plus, this allows for more commentary on current politics and allows a whole new level of development for a character like Bobby, since he could be sort of taking Hank's place to a degree within the story, maybe even trying to understand the younger generation himself. It's hard to say for sure if this will happen, but we have to say we absolutely love the idea. It adds so much more opportunity to see the characters grow and build off of what was previously established.
Yeah, like I said, age them up a little bit, but you don't gotta make them super old and shit like that, bro. Like, just age them up just a little bit,
Coming from a Deadline article that first revealed the revival to the world is A Whole New Perspective. During the article, they mention that the creators of the show say that this version is going to have a whole new perspective on the show, and we have literally no idea what that can mean. Now, if this piggybacks off of our previous theory, this could mean that the show will utilize the time skip to allow for this new perspective. Or it could mean that the show will be shown from Bobby's perspective, either now as an adult or while still a child in this new generation. This would allow for some interesting stories because whether he's now an adult or not, Bobby's perspective on issues is always quite unique compared to Hank's.
Yeah,
but again, considering it's called A Whole New Perspective, it may be referring to someone like Gracie or Good Hank, who we'll be talking about a bit later. However you decide to dissect this phrase, it could be a very unique version of the story we're going to see. And based on what we can determine, we like this theory and what it could mean.
Like every damn theory, my boy. Look, I'm just saying, whatever they do, that just don't Netflix it up. What do I mean by that? Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Netflix has a good way of fucking shit up when they doing stuff like this. Now, I'm talking about if you're going to do it, HBO that shit. Like The Last of Us is great, hilarious, cool. Hello?
Another theory from the Deadline article is
good,
that Khan will return, but is recast. The article noted all of the cast members returning to the show, and one notable name was missing. Toby Huss as Khan.
Go out with your great new friends. Live life. Have fun.
In the original series, Huss voiced a variety of characters, not just Khan, but also Cotton Hill and Joe Jack, amongst others. While at first this may imply that Khan won't appear in the new series, we severely doubt this. Khan is an important character to the show, to say the least.
For sure.
And it would be a severe screw-up if he were to just disappear from the show as a whole. Khan more than likely will have been recast, which could have been for a couple reasons, but more than likely so an Asian actor could take the role to avoid any studio backlash. King of the Hill would not be the first show in recent memory to do this. Dr. Hibbert in The Simpsons and Cleveland Brown and Family Guy are some notable examples of recasting characters with actors of the same ethnic background. As long as Khan returns and
I don't think we care. Like, I guess it's just speaking from a black man. I don't care if Token is black or white. Tolkien. Like on South Park. I'm just saying, like, I don't really care if Token is black or white. As long as he's funny. If it's been like how it's been before, I mean, if he's black, great. You know what I'm saying? Put a black actor in it. If that makes you feel good, that makes you feel better, that is safe for the whole series, the show, fine. But, you know, it's one of those things like it's just like, the society we live, man, you know what? The society we live in is just such a bitch. You know what I'm saying, bro? People just cry baby shit about every fucking thing, bro. Everything. Some things I understand. Some things I get. And then other shit, I'll be like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, I'll just be like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? People attacking comedians and stuff. People attacking shows. Some things is like, bro, you gotta just let them be what they be. I understand when people take shit too far and it just rubs you the wrong way. Just don't watch it anymore. Just don't watch it. You know what I'm saying? You weren't gonna watch it anyway. Just don't watch it. If they go too far, okay, fine, I get it. Saying something about that, letting the creators know, hey, look, man, you just went a little bit too far. Okay, I got it. But it's just like people just being such a bitch lately in the last 5 to 6 years, maybe even 10, just people being a bitch.
Some form.
I'm sorry, I'm just being honest,
and performed as he originally was. We like this idea. Khan's friendship with Hank is arguably one of the best progressions in the series, and the sort of frenemy dynamic they had was always hilarious. Another theory from a Johnny 2 Kellis video is Bobby's failed comedy career. Essentially the idea that Bobby would have attempted a comedy career in either New York or Los Angeles.
It's tough being a white man these days. It's tough, I tell you.
This would lead to him failing and having to move back to Arlen, and after spending time in more liberal places. It would be interesting to see how Bobby and Hank's disagreements have grown. This could have some interesting little connections with the original series.
This nigga head look like a fucking chicken bone, a furry chicken bone, boy.
For instance, the government child protection agent from episode 1 was originally from LA. Bobby has been into comedy for the majority of the series, and having him try to make a career in it would make a lot of sense for him as a character. It would also make sense if he had to come back to town if he failed his career. However, one may argue it makes more sense for him to be a successful artist, as that seems to fit more with what the show tries to paint, especially in episodes like Meet the Propaniacs, where he has a successful career on the propane circuit of comedy. Though Bobby does get a lot of advice in other episodes to have a more grounded view on life, so it could go either direction. We'll say that we have mixed feelings on this theory, as it could make a lot of sense. It feels kind of pessimistic to see Bobby fail like this. The next theory is the generations of the Hill family.
Hopefully he just can keep his comedy career, even if they keep the same trajectory, how they got it, like, you know what I'm saying? If they keep going in the same trajectory, like, basically if everybody's still the same, Bobby's still a kid, hopefully they give him a episode or maybe even a season where his comedy starts taking off. Maybe he have money. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're, you know, just dealing with Hollywood and stuff like that. That would be interesting. Seeing them move would be interesting too.
This idea stems from the idea that if Bobby moves back, as the previous idea says, the house would not only have Hank, who is a kind of boomer-type conservative, who is a more liberal millennial, but also potentially good Hank or Bobby's own child, as a tech-savvy Gen Zer. Having this multi-generational version of the Hill family allows for a lot of interesting dynamics. This could also help put Bobby in a similar place to Hank from the original series, as he tries to understand the next generation. So we do love the idea that we could see a variety of characters in one household, much like we did with the original series with characters like Luann and Cotton. We've brought them up before, but the next section is Gracie and or Good Hank. Near the end of the show's run, 2 major characters end up giving birth and introducing new characters into the show. These are Dee Dee Hill and Luann Platter, who give birth to Good Hank, or GH for short, and Gracie. These characters are still infants by the end of the show, so don't have much for personality. But considering the potential issues with bringing Luann and Lucky back, given that the actors who played them unfortunately passed away, as well as the death of Cotton in the story, it would be hard to introduce these characters once more, unless we take a page out of the book of the show itself. If the show ends up doing the time skip we've been talking about, there is one really easy way to introduce these characters. The beginning of the show has Luann coming to stay with the Hills because of her mother's actions, so maybe the same happens with Gracie. This could be a good kicking off point for this continuation, and maybe Good Hank comes to stay for similar reasons.
And Gracie could have grown up, right? And she could take the place of Bobby and doing little dumb shit, and Bobby could be older, and he could be trying to understand and rationalize why she does this stuff, help her out. And Hank, Hank and Peggy, they're just like older, and they're even more set in their ways, and they're trying to understand the both of them pretty much.
Due to his father's death and Dee Dee being, well, Dee Dee. We'll say that we like the idea of these characters returning, because there is a lot of potential for some good storylines. The saddest theory we have on our list is Luann and Lucky won't appear. Luann and Lucky are two major characters in the original show, as Luann has been around since season 1. Lucky only popped up near the end of the show, but he and Luann ended up getting married, and they both appear frequently from that point on. The two of them are quite beloved. Unfortunately, as we mentioned, the voice actors for these two have sadly passed away, which leads to only a few potential options with how to handle these two characters.
Recast
the most
them.
likely option is that the two simply won't appear, because no matter how you slice it, a recast just wouldn't feel right. We obviously can't.
I guess that would be kind of fucked up. It's like, let their legacy be, especially if you're doing a reboot. Let their legacy be. Let them. That's who they were. Make some new characters, even though, it is what it is.
Say we like the idea of Luann and Lucky not being in the reboot, so we do have mixed feelings. But we hope there is a small way to reference and honor these characters, even if it's just mentioning them here and there. The next big theory we have on the list is Boomhauer's job. Boomhauer is one of Hank's best friends and has been since high school, so as such, he has been around since the very beginning of the show. Unlike Bill, Hank, and Dale, we never really know what Boomhauer does for work. That is, until the finale episode, To Sirloin with Love, where we finally see what he does. It turns out that Boomhauer is actually a Texas Ranger, and while we don't know exactly what he does, it does explain a lot about him. So the point of this theory is that in this new continuation, likely taking place with business as usual rather than a time skip, we might actively see Boomhauer at work. This would allow the show to do a lot of interesting things because of how intriguing this occupation is for a man like Boomhauer. However, if the show takes place after a time skip, maybe he's already retired. That said, we do say that we love this idea of finally seeing Boomhauer at work. But let us know in the comments section what your favorite theory is. And tell us, are you excited for the King of the Hill reboot? Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our other.
I just can't wait to fucking see Dale ass, bro. I can't wait. And then even with like the new stuff these days, like with like the whole dollar, not I wouldn't say collapsing, but just the new world, this new world order kind of thing. I would love to see their take on these new politics and just so many different things. I would love to hear their take on it, man. I would love to hear that, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think. What would y'all like to see, bro? Please let me know down below. What would y'all like to see? Of course, we will be watching it. Of course, if we're not watching it here, we're going to be watching it on the Patreon. So make sure that you click on the Patreon. It's only $3 a month. And you already know your boy got you, man. We got 12, 13 episodes of Futurama, 13 episodes of Archer, and we're catching up in the South Park full episodes over there, man. And we got all the movies over there, man. So look, love y'all, man. Check your boy out, man. Oh, thank y'all for 70,000 subscribers, y'all. Thank y'all, my boys. I forgot. We're on the cusp of it. I see it. By the time this video drops, we could be there.